Welcome back to End Times Prophecy News. We have breaking news from the White House. Correspondents Association releases response to Trump statement. The White House Correspondents Association looks forward to having its annual dinner on April 29th. The WHCA takes note of President Donald Trump's announcement on Twitter that he does not plan to attend the dinner, which has been and will continue to be a celebration of the First Amendment and an important role played by an independent news media in a healthy republic. We look forward to shining a spotlight at the dinner on some of the best political journalism of the past year and recognizing the promising students who represent the next generation of our profession. Okay. Commerce Secretary pick willing to do the unthinkable if confirmed by Senate. Wilbur Ross has made a fortune off of bad trade deals in America, but he vows to tear those contracts up if confirmed as Secretary of Commerce. From the New York Times. With a panel of senators questioning him, the billionaire investor Wilbur L. Ross stayed on message. If confirmed as President Trump's Commerce Secretary, he would protect American workers and tear up bad trade deals that harmed American industry. And yet, for more than a decade, those same trade deals helped Mr. Ross amass a fortune across the globe in countries like Mexico, China, and among others. In fact, Mr. Ross has sometimes invested overseas in ways that Mr. Trump condemns. But a spokesman for Mr. Ross described his experience as an asset, not a contradiction. As a private businessman, Mr. Ross made pragmatic decisions based on law available at the time, and it was precisely his knowledge of how trade deals work that will allow him to be successful in renegotiating bad deals like NAFTA, said the spokesman, James Raucus. The Senate is scheduled to vote on Mr. Ross's confirmation on Monday. Trump, by far not the first president to skip Correspondents' Dinner. President Trump announced that he will not be attending this year's White House Correspondents' Dinner, but he is not the first president to sit one out. Slated to take place April 29th, the annual dinner is traditionally attended by the President, First Lady, members of the administration, the White House press corps, and numerous media outlets. Proceeds raised by the dinner go toward scholarships and awards for aspiring journalists. The announcement comes from the president, and his administration continues to maintain a public feud with the press and block multiple media organizations from attending an impromptu daily briefing with White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer on Friday. White House strategist Steve Bannon told Conservative Political Action Conference attendees on Thursday that Trump would continue to attack the media, which Bannon described as corporatists, globalists, and members of the opposition party. Trump attended the dinner in 2011 when Barack Obama was president and was roasted by the then president. So obviously he does not have very good feelings about it, does he? The first White House Correspondents' Dinner occurred in 1921, and the first president attended, Calvin Coolidge, in 1924. 15 presidents have attended since, and a president has been present at every dinner since at least 1987, according to the White House Correspondents Association. I think what we're seeing here is pretty much the globalists are the ones that always attend. After all, Donald Trump is not a globalist or a bureaucrat or the establishment. Look which president's daughter is headlining a Planned Parenthood fundraiser. George W. Bush's daughter, Barbara, is headlining a Planned Parenthood fundraiser in Texas. Okay. Barbara Bush. TheHill.com reports Barbara Pierce Bush, the daughter of former President George W. Bush, will headline a Planned Parenthood fundraiser next week in Texas, according to a report from the Texas Tribune. I wonder how Texas feels about that. Bush is expected to be the keynote speaker at the Planned Parenthood of Greater Texas annual Fort Worth fundraising luncheon. President Bush pushed for anti-abortion policies during his time in the White House, but his wife Laura Bush has supported legal abortion in the past. The announcement comes amid the continuing debate over federal funding for Planned Parenthood, which provides a variety of reproductive health services to women, including abortions. The Hill. No, what's going on is that Barbara Bush, Mother Bush, George Bush Sr., they're all global elites, and they all want to have less people on the planet. Depopulation. So that's what abortion's all about. That's why they support it. Sick. Killing innocent babies. Democratic senator goes on rampage. A Democratic senator just had a tweet storm rampage after learning about the leaked Obamacare repeal. It seems that a lot of people tweet. A lot of lawmakers use Twitter. The Hill reported Senator Chris Murphy, Democrat of Connecticut, blasted and leaked Republican plans for repealing and replacing Obamacare in a Friday night tweet storm. A draft House Republican Obamacare bill was leaked on Friday and includes plans to dismantle the core aspects of the health care law and replace them with a system centered on a new tax credit. The measure is dated February 10th, so it is not the most recent version of Republicans' plan. It is unclear how much has changed since then. Murphy starts his rant with a tweet saying, "Let me count thy ways, that the leaked GOP ACA repeal plan will totally, completely, monumentally screw you." Okay, go ahead, count them. You get a couple $1,000 to help you buy insurance. That's it. If you aren't rich or healthy, you won't be able to afford anything. Well, you failed there, so that's 0 for 1. Number 2, it gets worse. When you can't afford your premiums because the tax credit is too small, you get a huge penalty when you try to sign up again. Well, let's see. It's twice as expensive as insurance is, at least twice as expensive as it used to be, and no one even covers you. So actually, in my eyes, coverage is about 4 to 5 times worse, and that means 400 to 500 times worse than what it was. So that's 0 for 2 you get, Chris. Coverage mandates and penalties only work if you make insurance affordable. I don't know why he's even saying this. GOP plan cuts subsidies so much that penalty is unworkable. Yeah, we need to cut subsidies. We need to stop having the government give everything out. Bring back the jobs so you work for a living, so that the government won't be $20 trillion in debt, and that everyone works and everyone is happier and more functional. Mandatory benefits are repealed, so even if you can get insurance, it doesn't have to cover anything. Out-of-pocket expenses skyrocket. I don't know what planet you're living on. You're making no sense, Chris Duffy. And this is a real interesting one. A transgender boy is about to win a girls' Texas state wrestling title, and people are peed. A transgender boy, this is a girl turning into a boy, wrestling against girls, has moved within one win of a girls' wrestling state title. AP News reports Cypress, Texas, a 17-year-old transgender boy, no, it's a girl, moved within one match of winning a Texas state girls' wrestling title. Mac Beggs pinned Kaylin Clay to improve to 56-0, putting him in Saturday afternoon's championship match. Now, let me get this straight. Here you have a person who is confused, and so they join sports as a woman and become a man, but claim that they're still going to compete as a woman. This is really interesting. But then we're taking male hormone pills to chemically turn her into a man. So then she has a way over unfair advantage over everyone else. But then the state law says you have to compete with the gender that you were assigned, given at birth, which seems right. But when man comes in and twists things and builds clones, builds cyborgs, and gives us hormones, this is what happens. They say the testosterone Beggs has been taking while transitioning from female to male has made him too strong to wrestle fairly against girls, but state policy calls for students to wrestle against the gender listed on their birth certificate. So Beggs beat Taylor Latham and Maya Engert handily on Friday before his victory over Clay that sent him to the finals. In the semifinals, the match was halted for a couple of minutes because Beggs had a bloody nose. Trainers finally managed to stop the bleeding and the fight resumed. Not long after, Beggs slammed Clay on the mat and pinned her. He and Clay shared a long hug before an official raised Beggs' arm to signal victory, and the wrestler scurried off the mat. Clay's coach shouted to reporters that she did not have permission to talk to them after her loss, and both of her parents declined comment. Beggs, who reached the state tournament after two opponents forfeited, will face Chelsea Sanchez for a shot at a state title. And in Texas, lawmakers are considering a bill similar to HB2, the North Carolina law that prompted the NBA to move this year's All-Star game out of that state. If passed, the Texas version, called SB6, would require transgender people to use the bathroom of their biological sex. The University Interscholastic League, which oversees athletes in Texas public schools, enacted the birth certificate policy August 1st. Attorney Jim Bodhuin tried and failed to get injunctions before both the district and regional meets to prevent Beggs from competing while he transitions. He told the Associated Press earlier this week he doesn't blame Beggs for the situation, but faults the UIL. I'll tell you what the biggest problem here is: the transition. Stop making transitions legal. Stop brainwashing our kids in school. And stop making letting the government fund people, pay for people to be transitioned. Did you know that's been going on in the Abomination era? That's right. The government was paying people to transition, but not paying anyone to give them food dying on the side of the street. That's right. The government would rather you turn a woman into an abomination or it than feed a poor, starving heterosexual on the street. Anyway, that will be it for this report. Thank you for listening, and God bless you.
If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land.